السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ومن يهاجر في سبيل الله يجد في الأرض مراغما كثيرا وسعة. صدق الله العظيم. Alhamdulillah, thumma alhamdulillah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us tawfiq to come to His house. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our coming here. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all forms of ibadat that we may be engaged in only with His tawfiq, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept them all from us. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with the first Jum'ah of the Islamic year 1445. It is truly a blessing that we have gone through so many years of our lives with health and with afiyah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us another opportunity in this current year to make things better among us and our Creator and ourselves and the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Many people who were here last year, first Friday of 1444, and we know them that they are not around us anymore. We are not even sure that if we will be around after the Salah is over. So we should take it as an opportunity that Allah has blessed us with more time and opportunities to make things better, to fix ourselves, to fix our connection, our bonding with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is what the new year should bring to us. The Islamic New Year brings many reminders. One reminder should be that we have gone closer to our death. We have used up much of the fuel that we have been given to live in this life, and the fuel tank is only reduced. We should be reminded at the beginning of the new year that whatever we have done in the past, there may have been many sins that we may have forgotten. There may have been many sins that we may remember, and we still have to ask tawbah. The new year should bring many reminders, including why did Hijrah took place? What were the conditions of the Muslims living in Makkah Mukarramah that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave them permission to do Hijrah, yet he still himself stayed in there. Khabbab bin Arat radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, one of the Sahabi, narrates that I went to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam while he was sitting in the shadow of Kaaba, Baytullah. And I asked him, Ya Rasulullah, Ala tastansiru lana? Aren't you going to ask for help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us? Ala tad'u lana? Aren't you going to make dua for us? This question coming from the Sahabi to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is not just because they did not have food and water. It's because they were going through some harsh times from the people of Makkah. The same Khabbab bin Arat radiyallahu ta'ala was a well-respected person and who had skills to do some work. He says in a different riwayat that I did some job for a person from non-Muslims, from mushrikeen of Makkah. When I was done with the work, I went up to him and I said, okay, give me the money that you owe me. And he said, not until you refuse to believe in the message of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, message of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. These were the conditions that the people are working, yet they are not getting paid. And not just we are not paying you because, we are not paying you because you believe in Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And for many others like Khabbab bin Arat, Bilal, Ammar, Yasir, Sumayya, Abu Dharr Ghifari radiallahu ta'ala anhu, many people were persecuted. All of those people who held a low status in the society, they were persecuted. Even the people who held respectful status in the society, they were persecuted too. Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu held a very high honorable status in Mecca, yet he was given beat, that he was unconscious, kept on going on and off for 3 days when Abu Dharr Ghifari radiallahu ta'ala anhu and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam were attacked. So people were persecuted, and then that's when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had told them to go out, and that's when they left for first Habasha. And then the persecutions, they only increased. The intensity only increased. The only fear that the kuffar of Makkah had was the fear of Abu Talib. They knew that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had full support and back of Abu Talib, who was old and who was weak, but yet he was the clan leader. And he knew that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's survival is because of Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. And what happened? As if these persecutions did not test the Muslims and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam enough, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent another test. Both Abu Talib and Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha met Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They died 10 years after and this is for the youngsters to know how did Islam reach us. And I will share that with you as well, especially the people from Southeast Asia. How did Islam reach us? 10 years after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam proclaimed Nubuwwah, when he was 50 years of age, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam lost two biggest supporters, Khadija and Abu Talib. And that is when Quraysh start thinking about taking care of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once and for all. And of course, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam realized that Makkah Mukarramah is not a safe place for him anymore. And naturally he started looking here and there around town, which city would be receiving my call, my da'wah, my message. City outside of Makkah that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to and gave da'wah? Taif. And that safar of Taif, that traveling, that journey to Taif, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not gather a group of 5-6 brothers and let's go, we're gonna call everybody towards the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It wasn't like that. He only had one young man, Zayd, who was not much older than any one of you guys who have not even seen the hair on their face. That's it. A teenager, if I'm not mistaken. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam goes to Taif and he meets 3 clan leaders over there. And when we read and when we analyze what exactly happened to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Taif, even Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that too. That type of humiliation Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had not experienced in 10 years from Quraysh, that he suffered at the hands of those 3 people and the people of Taif. One of them said, if Allah made you the Prophet, He Himself wants to destroy Kaaba. Subhanallah. This was the statement made to the Rasul of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The other one said, listen, I don't want to talk to you, because if you are a true messenger of Allah, I may be disrespectful to you, and then I will become a recipient of the azab, punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I don't want to talk to you. And if you're a liar, I don't need to pay attention to any liars here. Leave. The third one said, did Allah find anyone better than you to make a prophet? You were the only one? Throughout the Taif and Makkah Mukarramah, you were the only one found to receive the Nubuwwah? And they were not done yet. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam left, this is all steps getting preparation towards Hijrah. Another difficult moment at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is yet to come 3 years after this. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is leaving, they were not done yet. And I don't think that anyone has seen anything, even on YouTube. I remember seeing something when I was under 10 years old. Someone was stoned in front of my eyes back home. And I still remember that. I think I was probably 7 or 8 years old, maybe younger. But that sight of the person running away, he was a majnoon. And the people of town were throwing stones at him. I still remember that person running away who was a majnoon. And people were throwing stones. I bet you none of you probably have experienced that sight of a person getting stoned. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, his ankles were targeted with the stones. So he can't run anymore. Not that he was getting hit by stones only on his body. His ankles were targeted. And that's why we read the riwayat that his shoes were filled with blood. To a point that he could not run anymore, he couldn't stand anymore, he sat down. And they were not done yet. You know what they did? Two notorious people came. One held one armpit of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the other held the other armpit of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and they forced him to stand up and run again so they could watch the show of a running man being stoned. And that's how Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam da'wah came to us. But that was, as scholars have written, that was a turning point in the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. As if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given open hand to the non-believers. Test my Nabi as much as you can. See what happens. See what you can do. See if you can change him. See if you can change his attitude. That same year after the incident of Taif, by the way, we all know that at that time, the people, when they were done, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam still in Taif, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends the angel responsible for mountains, Malakul Jibal. He came and he said, Ya Rasulullah, if you want, we can crush these people. They will become surma. Because surma bana dete. And what did Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam say? I am not sent for this. If not them, maybe their progeny will believe in me. Not many of us know. Who conquered Sindh at the time of Hajjaj bin Yusuf? Who was the first person to conquer Sindh? Muhammad bin Qasim. What was his full name? Muhammad bin Qasim al-Thaqafi. You know where he was from actually? From the people who lived in Taif. Did we know that? That same dua that was asked by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that if not these people, their progeny will accept my call, the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From the progeny of the same people, Muhammad bin Qasim was sent by Hajjaj bin Yusuf, who conquered Sindh. And through his effort, we're all Muslims. And we enjoy Islam in Southeast Asian part of the world. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam arrives back in Mecca, and that same year, 6 people he meet for the first time from Medina Munawwara, Yathrib, which was known as Yathrib at that time. And now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is opening the doors of Fatah. Success, Nusra is coming. They accept Islam and they go back. Next year, 11 years after the Hijrah, after the Bi'tha, 12 people come. And this time they ask Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam after accepting Islam, Ya Rasulullah, send with us a person who can teach us Quran. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam sends the first teacher. First teacher of Quran was sent in the history of Islam was Mus'ab bin Umair radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And he teaches them Quran, he teaches them Ahkam, and he teaches them Tawheed. And slowly a lot of people in Medina Munawwara, the Ansar of Medina Munawwara, started to believe in the call, in the message of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. 1 year later, Mus'ab bin Umair radiyallahu ta'ala anhu's effort bring good fruits. 75 people come to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, which is known as Bayt Aqba Thaniya. This Bayt Aqba Thaniya is so well known as so sacred and respected that Ka'b bin Malik radiyallahu ta'ala anhu mentions in one of the long hadiths that I did not attend Badr, But I don't regret anything because I was part of Bayt Aqaba. I don't regret that I did not attend Badr because I was part of Bayt Aqaba. What happened in Bayt Aqaba, all of them, the 75 people, I think there were 72 men and 3 women, they all unanimously invited Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam to Medina Munawwara. Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu was not a Muslim at that time, and he was present in that meeting where Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was being invited away from Makkah, and he said, hold up, you know, this person is very dear to us. You taking him, you're not going to be able to provide him shelter and care and protection that he deserves. Look where we are in this valley. We've been here for 3 years. Everybody has boycotted us, but we are not leaving him. You cannot do it. Leave him alone. We are enough for him. Ansar of Medina, looking at the situation, ask each other, are we willing to take this? Someone stands up, Sa'ad ibn Darara, one of the leaders from Ansar from Medina Munawwara, he stands up. He said, I want to remind you guys, you know what Abbas said? Pay attention to what he said. You're called, the translation in English is when if you are taking Muhammad with you, you're calling a destruction for your families. You're calling that your wives become widow and your children become orphans. You're calling surkh aandhiyon ko dawat de rahe ho. This is the translation. You're calling the worst calamity to befall on you. You know who are you dealing with? Quraysh, the most powerful people in the whole entire Arabian Peninsula. Watch out. And they ask each other, and they look at each other, and they ask Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam one question. Ya Rasulullah, what do we get in return if we take you? What do we get in return if we take you? You know what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam's answer was? And the answer and the response of the answer tells us the sidq of Sahaba. And we understand why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls Medina Munawwara Darul Iman. And why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talk so much about Ansar? And why did Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said about loving Ansar? It's going to change the topic, we'll talk about it some other time inshallah. The answer of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was one word, Jannah. Nothing in this dunya, I don't have anything to give you. Jannah. They did not need any more time to do further mashwara. Right after the answer of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, another sahabi got up and he shouted out loud, Rabihal Bay'. What a great bargain. And that's it. This was the deal between Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and the Ansar to receive Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And that's when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam permitted the Sahaba Ikram to start migrating towards Medina Munawwara. But the call, but the ijazah, the permission for himself to migrate had not come yet. And he waited another time. He waited another time. Until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had to prove a lot of things, that Allah is Qadir, that Allah is the protector, that the whole world can come against anyone, especially Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect the believing men and women still holds the truth. كَذَلِكَ نُنْجِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had to show that even 50 people surrounded Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, was put under siege the whole night until that moment came when they all entered but found that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was not there. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu was there. What happened to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam? And then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, while leaving his house, teaches us another lesson. وَجْعَلْنَا مِن بَيْنِ أَيْدِيهِمْ سَدًّا وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ سَدًّا فَأَغْشَيْنَاهُمْ فَهُمْ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ. That it is only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who covers, who protects. Our plans don't work. The plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala works. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is leaving with one person, Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who was also waiting for the order to come, and they are hiding in the ghar, in the cave, to the point that the people who were looking for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came up until only if they had to look down, they will spot Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the whole world, as if the whole world is helping Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Riwayat are there, and Allahu Aalam, what is the status of those riwayat? That right away the spider had put a web right there, and the pigeons had put their nest there with eggs in there. This was the help coming for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from the entire creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu says, Ya Rasulullah, he wasn't saying it for the safety of his own life, by the way. He was saying it for the safety of the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, Ya Rasulullah, only if they naturally look down, you know what, we're caught, we're done. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, La tahzan, inna Allah ma'ana. Teaching us a lesson again. Don't fear the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is with us. Allah is with you. La tahzan, inna Allah ma'ana. And that's how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stays for 3 days in this cave. And after so much of days of traveling, he arrives in Medina Munawwara. For you to know, when he arrived in Medina Munawwara, where Masjid al-Nabawi is, that was 12th of Rabi'ul Awwal. By the way, not Muharram. So why do we start the Hijrah calendar from the Hijrah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and in Muharram when the Hijrah took place in Rabi'ul Awwal? That's a question, right? Should I talk about it next Jumah, or can we answer it right now? Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu's time, in about 16th or 17th Hijri, when he was the ruler, some matter came, some qadiyah came, in which one person said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, he had to give me my money in Sha'ban. So Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu asked, which Sha'ban? This year, last year, or the next year? And that's when he realized that there is no calendar. And he ordered the Shura that come up with a plan so we can start appointing and assigning years. And that's when, with the mashwara of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the starting point was not set by the birth of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam or the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, but the hijrah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And with the mashwara of Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the calendar was continued to start from Muharram, not from Rabi'ul Awwal. Even though Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam hijrah took place in Rabi'ul Awwal, but because of the mashwara of Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the calendar started from Muharram. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Qur'an al-Azim wa nafa'na wa iyyakum bil ayati wa dhikri al-hakim innahu ta'ala jawadun kareemun barra'ufur rahim fastaghfiru innahu wal ghafurur rahim